Remember, if you see the symbol, pause the video. If you don't need to pause the video because if you've taken all the notes you need to, don't pause it and just continue on with the presentation. But today's objective, the student will be able to add and subtract negative integers. This will be done through a presentation and classroom activity. Negative integers are one of those things that are kind of confusing on students because, as I explained in the class like a few weeks ago, up until probably like second, third, fourth grade, probably third or fourth grade, you're like, oh, all we have is positive numbers, and all magically next you have, look at, now you have negative numbers. So that's what kind of makes it hard, because negative is, you're going to find out in a minute, opposite of positive. So, but negative is non-existent really in school till like the second grade, so have fun. So, negative versus positive numbers. Right now, describe to me, even if don't necessarily write it on the paper, but think of everything you know as a positive number. Think of 3 things that describe a positive number. It's what your definition, not like say textbook definition. Well, a textbook would be like anything to the right of a 0 on the number line. So just think, there's no right or wrong really to this. How do you describe a positive number? So they're not going to be right or wrong, but there are a few things to look at when you do a positive. So, but what is opposite of positive? Is negative. What is a negative number? It's the opposite of a positive number. So what is the opposite of a negative? Would be a positive. And what is the opposite of a positive? A negative. The whole point of this is negative is the opposite of positive. Positive is the opposite of negative. So they cancel each other out. But say you go to a store and you're at the store and you find something that has cost $6. I don't care what it is. Just think of something about $6, like a book at Barnes & Noble. Or, well, so you go into the store and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your $5 is going to come up in 1 second. So you want to buy something for $6 and you have $5. But if we put this up there, we'll see there's our positive $5 and our negative $6 because the item costs $6. So 1, 2, 3. Now the fourth one's going to cancel, and the fifth one cancels. So we have 1 positive, negative canceling, 2 positive and negative canceling, 3 positive and negative canceling, 4 positive and negative canceling, 5 positive and negative canceling. So we have 1 negative left. So if you look, I wrote the question up there. 5 minus 6 equals negative 1. So if you were going to buy that item at $6 and you have 5, you can't buy it because you're negative $1 to get that item. That's kind of one of the easiest ways I can explain negative integers. So, but here, look at example. We have the first one up there. If you have 3 minus 6, so you have 3 positive and 6 negative, 3 minus 6 equals negative 3, because those 3 positives will cancel out with the 3 negatives, and then you'll have, the 6 negatives, and you have negative 3 left over. So 4 minus 6 is going to be negative 2. 2 minus 4 is going to exit. That should be negative 4. So here's your first pause part. Remember, if you don't need to take any notes because you took good notes, feel free not to pause and just go on to the rest of the presentation. If you do need to take notes, pause, take whatever notes you need. Well, here's why math is confusing. I explained this numerous times that the same problem can be done lots of different ways. And right now, here's an example of this. So we have 3 minus negative 6. We saw this a minute ago. 3 minus negative 6 is going to equal 3. So we can write the problem as stated in the top right. 3 minus negative 6 equals negative 3 because that first set cancels, that second set cancels, the third set cancels. So if you cancel out all the positives, all you have left is that negative 3. So again, this is why it gets confusing. We can rewrite this problem, because the answer is still going to be negative 3 if we do negative 6 plus 3, because that's what this problem says right now. We have negative 6, which is the top, plus 3 equals negative 3. So both the same way of writing the problem, both are acceptable. So negative 3 minus 6 equals negative 3. 3 minus negative 6 equals 3, or negative 6 plus 3 equals negative 3. So as I said, these are the same problem. 3 minus 6 equals negative 3. Negative 6 plus 3 equals negative 6. We can also write it as 3 plus a minus 6, or 3 plus a negative 6 equals negative 3, or negative 6 minus a minus 3 equals 3. Again, making it really confusing for you guys, but why is that last one? That seems totally different. Why is that last one the same? So I want you to view this as negative 6 minus a minus 3 equals negative 3. That's like taking away a debt. And this is where, again, it gets kind of confusing because that's like, okay, I pay my parents $3 I owe them. I don't owe them it anymore, so it kind of cancels. So the negative and the negative cancel, so it's actually going to make it a positive. So that's why that little positive is going to be popping up. Remember, anytime now you see negative and a negative, I want you to change that sign to a positive. So anytime from now on you see negative, negative, positive. So here's another pause symbol. If you need to pause, go back, take any notes you need. And if you don't need to pause, feel free to go on with the presentation to go on to the next part of the presentation. So I'm going to be playing some music in the background. If you have to mute it, mute it. I'm just going to have fun with you guys, and I'll explain why I'm playing the music after you're done with your questions. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. Okay, to recap, and before to recap, write in your notes somewhere on your paper, write just Queen, Queen, in big letters. That was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. So the reason I played that is whoever comes to class tomorrow and says, hey, Queen, for the question of the day, we'll get a surprise. So you guys learned how to do negative integers. Negative integers are not that hard. It is a little bit complicated because you probably don't, again, know about negatives till you hit like the third grade, so that's why math's kind of confusing. Nothing called negatives, and then, hey, look at negatives come up all of a sudden, and now you're like, what? Negatives? What are you talking about, negatives? So you learned about negatives today, and the objective, the student will be able to add and subtract negative integers. This will be done through a presentation and classroom activity. Thank you guys for letting me torture you for the last few minutes. Good luck in class tomorrow.